Your husband fights. You do something harder. You create fighters. This is your life as a Spartan woman. You wake before the sun touches the hills of Laconia. The house is yours. The land is yours. The decisions of the day are yours to make. And yet, everything you are, everything you have built, exists for a single purpose. Not for you, for Sparta. This is what it means to be born a woman in the most formidable city-state in the ancient world. Somewhere across the Aegean, in Athens, in Corinth, in the great cities of the Greek world, a woman your age wakes in a different kind of darkness. Her world is the interior of a house. The courtyard, if she is fortunate. She does not walk freely in the streets. She does not speak to men she does not know. She exists largely unseen, a domestic figure woven into the walls of her husband's home like thread into fabric. You are nothing like her. In Sparta, you have always moved through the open air. Since childhood, you have run along the banks of the Eurotas River, the sun on your face, your lungs filling with the sharp mountain breath of the Peloponnese. You have spoken your mind. You have argued with men. You have been given an education, not in spinning and weaving alone, but in music, in poetry, in the art of disciplined thought. Visitors to Sparta often look at you with something between admiration and unease. You meet their gaze and do not look away. That alone marks you as different. In most of the Greek world, a woman who holds a stranger's eye invites suspicion. In Sparta, it is simply how you were raised. But do not mistake this openness for something it is not. The freedom you carry is not yours. It was given to you by the city, and the city always expects something in return. From the time you were a young girl, your body has been treated as an instrument of the state, not in a cruel way, in a deliberate one. Sparta understands something that other cities do not. Weak mothers produce weak children, and Sparta cannot afford weakness. You ran, you wrestled, you threw the discus and the javelin in the pale morning light alongside other girls your age. You did not do these things in secret, hidden from public view. You did them openly, sometimes in the presence of young men. This alone would have scandalized most of the Greek world. In Athens, the female body was to be concealed, protected, kept indoors like something fragile and precious. In Sparta, it was to be developed, hardened by sun and effort, made strong through repetition and discipline. There was a pride in it, yes. The feeling of your legs pushing hard into the earth, your breath coming fast and clean, your muscles learning what they were capable of. But the elders who designed this training were not thinking about your pride. They were thinking about what your body would need to do. They were thinking about the sons you would carry, about the labor of birth, about the survival of infants born to women who were strong rather than fragile. Your strength was never entirely your own. It was always, at its root, Sparta's investment in the next generation. You marry later than most Greek women. While girls in other cities may be given to husbands at 13 or 14, you are older, 19, perhaps 20. Your body is fully grown, your training complete. In Sparta, this means you are ready. The ceremony would seem strange to outsiders. Your hair is cut short, and for a moment you are dressed in men's clothing before being brought to your husband. No one in Sparta finds this unusual. It is simply tradition. Your husband is a soldier who has lived in the barracks since childhood. On the night of your marriage, he comes to you quietly, briefly, before returning to the men's quarters before dawn. This is what marriage becomes, a series of short visits in the dark. He does not live in your home or share your daily life. He belongs to Sparta first, and only partly to you. You were never raised to expect a companion. You were raised to expect a soldier, and to produce the children Sparta demands. Daughters are accepted. Sons are the purpose. Because your husband is absent, because he belongs more to the agoge and the army than to your household. The management of your life falls entirely to you. And in this particular circumstance, you discover something unusual. You have authority. The estate must be managed. The helot workers who tend the land must be directed. The finances of the household must be tracked and maintained. The grain stores, the livestock, the decisions about what to plant and when, all of it passes through you. Not through a father, not through a husband, through you. This was profoundly rare in the ancient world. In Athens, a woman could not own property outright. She could not enter into contracts. She passed legally from the authority of her father to the authority of her husband, with no moment of independence between. Her economic existence was managed entirely by men. In Sparta, you can own land. Historical records, Greek, later Roman, note this with something approaching astonishment. The philosopher Aristotle, no admirer of Spartan women, complained that they had been allowed too much freedom and that they had come to hold a remarkable portion of Spartan land and wealth. He meant it as a criticism. You would not have taken it as one. But here again, the clarity of your situation reveals itself if you look at it honestly. You manage the estate because someone must, and the men are gone. Your independence is not the result of Spartan belief in female equality. It is the result of military necessity. The system needed someone to keep the land running while the soldiers soldiered. It chose you. You were trusted because you were useful. There is a difference, a real and significant difference between that and being free. There is a particular silence that falls over a gathering of Spartan women when one of them has borne only daughters. It is not cruel. These women are not cruel, not openly. But the silence carries weight. The sideways looks carry weight. The careful arrangement of conversation to avoid certain subjects carries weight. Spartan society has a clear hierarchy of worth for women, and it is built almost entirely upon sons. A woman who produces warriors is valued. A woman who produces daughters, while daughters are not unwelcome, has not yet fulfilled her primary obligation to the city. And a woman who produces no living children at all inhabits an uncomfortable space in the social order, visible but somehow peripheral. You feel this pressure constantly. It settles into the back of your thoughts during quiet moments. It surfaces when you watch another woman's son march past in the early training groups, small, and already serious-faced, already learning to be what Sparta needs him to be. You wonder, you calculate, you hope. If your sons die in training, if the Agaji claims them, as it sometimes does, your grief is expected to be controlled, silent, dignified. A Spartan mother who wails publicly over a dead son invites judgment. A Spartan mother who bears her loss with composure is spoken of with respect. The grief does not disappear. It simply has no place to go. It becomes something internal and permanent, another kind of weight you carry alongside the rest. There is a phrase every Spartan mother knows: come back with your shield or on it. Return victorious or do not return at all. A man who abandoned his shield had chosen survival over honor, and in Sparta, that choice was worse than death. You are expected to say these words and to mean them. You carried your son, raised him, and watched him taken away at 7 to begin the Agag. Now you send him to war with only a few final words, and none of them speak of safety. In Sparta, a mother's love is meant to create courage, not protect from danger. Whether your voice is steady or your hands tremble unseen does not matter. Sparta remembers only the moment of departure, the words you spoke, and the strength you showed. The world does respect you. That much is real. Visitors notice the confidence of Spartan women, and writers record your words with admiration. You stand straighter than most women in Greece, and no one expects you to live hidden behind walls. But that respect has conditions. You are honored because you raise warriors, manage the estates that sustain them, and teach your sons that honor matters more than life. Your strength serves the city, and the city rewards you for it. Remove those duties, and the respect begins to fade. A woman who outlives her sons is seen as a quiet tragedy, not only for her loss, but because her purpose is gone. Her land and authority remain, but the meaning behind them disappears. In Sparta, your worth is tied to the soldiers you create. The city honors you for it. The city depends on it, but it never grants you a value that exists on your own. You are older now. The estate is still yours to manage. Your movements are still your own. You have outlived the confusion of youth and the exhausting labor of early motherhood. In many ways, an aged Spartan woman carries herself with a kind of authority that her Athenian counterpart, long since made invisible by widowhood or old age, could not imagine. But the measure being taken of you, quietly, constantly, by the city that made you, is still the same measure it has always been. How did your sons perform? Did they hold the line? Did they keep their shields? Are they counted among the men that Sparta points to with pride? You sit with this in the long evenings. Your life has been full, genuinely full, of physical strength, of real responsibility, of a kind of respect that most women in the ancient world never knew. The running along the Eurotas, the wrestling in the open air, the years of managing land and people and resources with a competence that was never questioned. These were not nothing. They were, in their way, remarkable. But the question that Sparta has always asked of you, the question it asked from the moment you were born and continues to ask now, was never about you. It was about what you produced, the warriors that came from your body, the values you pressed into them, the way you released them without flinching. Your life was measured finally, not in what you experienced, but in what you made. Not in the woman you became, strong, capable, clear-eyed, real, but in the soldiers you sent forward into Sparta's endless need. That is the truth that lives at the center of your Spartan life. The freedom was genuine. The strength was genuine. The respect was genuine. And all of it had strings attached. Every single thread of it leading back to the city, to the army, to the next generation of men the state required you to produce. You knew this. You always knew this. And you lived it anyway, with discipline, with dignity, and with the particular kind of pride that belongs to people who carry heavy things without letting anyone see how much they weigh. Strength, sacrifice, and a life lived inside a contradiction. That is the legacy of the Spartan woman. Not a victim, not entirely free, something more complicated and perhaps more honest than either. If you want to experience more lives from the ancient world, subscribe to the channel. There are more stories waiting. Lives that will surprise you, challenge you, and make the ancient world feel as immediate as today. And tell us in the comments, could you live this life? The shield or the warrior? The freedom and the strings? The strength that was never entirely your own? Think about it carefully before you answer.